We are all here because of Mars. Right now, Mars is 143 million miles away, and in roughly that direction, I checked this morning. It is the only place we are aware of that has all the elements for a necessary human civilization. It's the only place we can go to start a new branch of humanity. Who cares? Here, that's probably, yeah, exactly. Here, that's an interesting question to ask because we're a little bit odd, but if you go out into the general public, the interest is not as high. Why? What is the difference? What makes us different from the general public? And I'm going to propose that the answer to that is inspiration. That something touched each one of us, gave us a love for space, and gave us an idea to share with everybody else. I want to show you something, a little time capsule from my past. This was mine. Actually, this is a copy. I got one. Mine was destroyed back when I was 5. I got this off eBay. This was made in 1970 when the Apollo program is going on. Avon put this out. This is a command module shampoo bottle. When you pour out the shampoo, the lem, it actually has shampoo in it still. The lem flicks on and you pop it off and you play a game with it. This is a map of how they went to Apollo, or how they went to the moon on Apollo. I was 5 years old when I was playing this, learning orbital mechanics. That is not what we are seeing today with our space program. And again, I think it's inspiration. What we are proposing is not a solution to how to inspire the entire world with the love of space, but it is a possibility to reach out to people who are going to be the next generation of engineers, the people who are going to take us to space, not just the ones who are going to work in space, but the ones who are going to vote to take us into space, the ones who are going to care about it. The Mars Leap is a immersive, interactive, traveling science museum exhibit. It's designed to go to large interactive science centers around the country and open itself up for people to come in and experience a Martian mission from the very beginning, from the decision to go to space. We're going to deal with why we should be in space, why not spend the money here on Earth, why we should be going. They're going to get a chance to design their own mission and then go to Mars. There is a space station that they will arrive at. They will ride a HAB down from the space station to the Martian surface and then get out in full sim and explore the Martian surface. The entire exhibit is about 5,000 square feet. The Martian surface itself is about 3,500 square feet. And everything in it would be based upon all the things that we have been talking about here at this conference. There's no way to do justice to everybody that has brought things forward that could all be included in this exhibit, telling people about the possibilities. There's, Susan and Emmy had the virtual reality medical training. I've been hearing people talk about digging for subsurface ice or exploring caverns or looking for life. All these things are possible with the Mars Leap. And you would think that getting your we're coming up. You would think that actually getting you onto the surface of Mars would be the cool part. That seeing something where you're allowed to and some of the visuals around, I feel like I'm kind of going off track here. Okay, here.
Let me make sure you're sharing. You are sharing, correct.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, with apologies to Blue Origin, this is what we're facing these days. The feeling for Mars is not quite the same as it used to be. But the Mars Leap is about inspiration. We talked about it being an immersive experience. This is an overall look at the general conceptual design on it. You can see the major Mars areas, the kind of training areas coming up around to the space station there at the top. Here's a layout. couple of the major things: 5,000 square foot exhibit, full AV computer simulations, scenic environments, real wherever we can get it, not virtual, real, where you're going to touch it, you're going to experience it. An exhibit like this, every one of us has been trying to reach out and evangelize on behalf of Mars. And even the most successful of us reach 10,000, 100,000. How many videos do we have out that maybe, if they're lucky, get 200,000 views? If this is not successful, it's going to be seen by about 800,000 people a year for 2 to 3 hours of interaction where they're paying attention to Mars. If it is successful, somewhere around 1.2 million people a year, and it has a 10-year lifetime on it. So we're talking 10 million people on Mars, getting a taste of everything that has inspired us to go. This is designed to reach out into communities. We're planning this to be something that is coming into a science museum and then connecting with other regional areas around it. So we're building connections across that. Important to it is there's a curriculum and a competition and industry connections. But let's take you through it real quick. There's the Mars entry right there. Some of the training, various different things that you might learn. There's the space station looking down on the surface of Mars. Your trip down in the HAB. If you look off to the far right, all these experiments can all be based on the various things that we're looking here. Somebody today was talking about inside a crater, and I don't remember the actual term, but little rivulets where we know there's no water, and yet these little rivulets are there. Why? That can be integrated into this exhibit. In the actual mountains that you're seeing, one of your interactives could be to go out, find one of these rivulets, and then examine it and say, okay, this is because of water, this is not. To actually explore the surface of Mars as much as we can. We want to put you there. And you think that would be the cool part? It is not by a far shot. That's how it's going to be examined by the general public on a regular basis. And y'all are familiar with science museums. You go in, you bring your kids, you're there for a few hours, you go home. But for the Mars Leap, we also have a competition where schools, for instance, can field a team of 4 astronauts, 2 mission controllers, and an adult supervisor who would design a very detailed mission within certain mission parameters that we would lay out. They would be able to select their experiments. They would go into the thing for an extended period, 8 hours, 10 hours, a weekend. Depends on the museum and what we can actually get away with. But they would be graded on their performance in this. Their mission would be rated on success upon what they were trying to achieve and how well they achieved it. They can fail and they could die in space. That's part of the risk of going to Mars, and it's something to be learned. But here's the cool part. The winning team, because the Mars Society has stepped forward to sponsor this, the winning team goes to Mars. They have said that we may use the Mars Desert Research Station as a prize for the curriculum. So whichever team of 4 does the best goes and spends a week living in sim in the Mars Desert Research Station. What sets the Mars Leap apart? There are some really spectacular space exhibits. There are some really spectacular proposed exhibits here. Bruce McKenzie had a great idea for a in-place version of a Mars museum. Space camp, good Lord, space camp. That is the experience of going to space, but they only reach a few hundred people a year. This goes out to everybody. It's something everybody can taste. And again, because of the generosity of the Mars Society, we have access to Dr. Zubrin to talk to us about what the Mars Direct is involved in, which is sort of like having Jonas Salk be there for your exhibition on vaccinations. This breaks out the mold because it's open-ended. There's not a do this, you're done. There's a here's what you could do, what do you want to do? It's open-ended problem solving. It allows for creativity. Integrated computer systems can really, we're gonna speed up it. I really want to talk about the advantages of sponsors on this. we saw the slide about Jeff Bezos and his thing. Bezos made an amazing accomplishment, and yet that is the feeling in the world. The space industry, the space market needs to reach out to the public, and this would help them do that. We talked about the potential audience. If you're a sponsor, you're in a museum. These are highly respected community resources. You're going to have a direct connection to to influence the next generation, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And in fact, here, let's go ahead and bump on. The sponsors, you're going to have the various different levels. You know, the prime sponsor is going to be recognized more than some of the sub-sponsors, and typical things that any exhibit, any advertising opportunity is going to give you: recognition, the various web, graphic, print, and everything. But here's what's going to set it apart for the sponsors on us. We want to actually integrate our sponsors into the scenario, just like Pan Am was integrated into 2001, Audi into iRobot, or Nokia into Star Trek. You'll be integrated into this. If you're Joe's Drones, we're going to have Joe's Drones stamped on the side of the drone that the kids are going to be interacting with. And even more important than the actual appearance in the exhibit is the way out. With the exhibit panels, there would be interactive panels that would take you back to the sponsoring company. So if somebody has an interest suddenly in becoming an aerospace engineer, entering space, they can talk to your company directly and say, how can I do it? And you can nurture them, bring them on up into the space world that they want to see. We've presented this before, and I'm here to ask for money this time. We are not going anywhere unless we have the will to go, and the will translates as money. We need sponsors. We need individuals. We're trying to look to individuals to sponsor the continued design effort on it, that actually get the development, get a curriculum built for it, and then tell us what exhibits we can build for the budget. But we're looking for crowdfunding for that, and then for the larger companies to actually support the construction and ongoing display of the exhibit. If anybody here has $2.5 million to drop on it, I'd love to talk with you. More likely, you work for a company that has an interest in space. And so please be an evangelist. Take this idea into your company, talk to the marketing people, have them call me, and we need to get some questions in on this. So I will leave it at that. Actually, here, let's leave it up with the donation thing if anyone wants to click that, and I will answer any questions.
What's the timeline on this project?
It's roughly 2 years, probably about 6 months for the design development to get it to a point where you can start saying it's going to cost this much to build this, and then start making budgetary slices and everything. Probably 18-month fabrication cycle on it.
Yes, you know, this looks very exciting, and
Thank you.
I just wanted to know, are you aware of the role that Mars has played in the intellectual development of our civilization?
No, and I don't think anybody is. I don't think anybody realizes how much it has actually impacted us.
Kepler began by analyzing the orbit of Mars. That launched the scientific revolution.
Yep.
And then who picked up his laws of planetary motion, worked out at Mars? Newton.
Yep.
And we've been going ever since then. They developed good telescopes. They could see Mars had polar caps and dust storms. Looked like Earth. They thought it had canals on it.
If Mars didn't have its highly elliptical orbit, we probably wouldn't know much of the orbits.
But laws of planetary, but it's just want you to know that
Yeah.
Mars has been absolutely a catalyst for human intellectual development. And you're now the fair de lance, you're the point of the spear on this.
We certainly want to try. Excellent. That's what I want to hear. And one of the things too is that what we want to get across with this exhibit is that Mars is not about astronauts and engineers exclusively. Mars opens up a whole new civilization for humanity. And civilization involves every aspect from art and architecture, poetry, history, politics. We've had a lot of presentations on politics of Mars. This allows everybody to see that they can have a role in Mars. If you're a botanist, you might think, well, what am I going to do on a rock planet? Botanists are going to be popular on Mars. It's for everybody. And that's part of the main thrust of this, is that in the Apollo era, every person on the planet knew without a doubt that their future lay in space. That is not the case anymore. And what we are trying to do with Mars Leap is show them that Mars is for them. And if we can capture somebody's hearts, educate them, and give them ways to take action, that's the way to actually explore. There is nothing crueler than inspiring somebody about space and then pulling the rug out from under them, as we all found out with Richard Nixon in 1972. All that has been disappointed for everybody. But I'm sorry, let's move on to.
Getting ready to go to Mars will get us ready to stay on Earth in a far better state. Yes.
Yes. The spin-offs, the additional technologies, the understanding of planets. No, please.
Spin-offs into something else, right? Teflon came as a result of nose cones, right?
Right.
That's spin-ups.
Spin-ups. Adjunct technologies. Unanticipated opportunities.
The patents are already on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's just that they compete with existing scale plants.
Well, and we don't know what we are going to find when we get there, what new technologies. Nobody going into Apollo said, hey, we're going to have Teflon and computers. Nobody thought about that. Absolutely. Without the will to do it, though, they will remain on the vine and wither there.
Right, so apologies if you already mentioned this, but where do you plan to locate the demo hab? And can you talk a little bit about essentially the dichotomy of putting it out in the desert where it would be slightly higher fidelity versus closer to a population center where you get a lot more engaged?
No, it fundamentally not the thing we're doing here. This is a self-contained traveling exhibit that would be going to science centers. So it's not anything that's going to be where we have to allow people to come to it. We're going to the people on this. And that's how you get that exposure to millions of people, as opposed to the space camp experience, which is superior, requires weeks of commitment and it only serves thousands of people. This requires hours of commitment and serves millions.
Real quick, another angle you could take with this is, as a sidebar, is there's an Apollo 13 style escape room where people they have one group doing mission control and the other group doing the actual capsule. You could do a similar thing like this where something gone horribly wrong and you're in there just trying to fix it.
We're planning, as part of the mission scenario, to be working back and forth between a mission control that is located in the part of the other area that's not the Mars Dome, but that you would have, as you're progressing in your mission, things go wrong. You get a micrometeoroid hit and have to repair it, or you die in space. Your computer goes down, you have to repair it, or you die in space. But there would be different issues that would be coming up that you would have to be solving. And we're down to 1 minute.
So first, plus on what Kent just said, for the escape rooms. In fact, I'm imagining like a Kickstarter campaign where an escape room, if they sponsor, they get designs that are carved out of your master design that they could then adapt for their own facility. Just a couple of random things. One, when you take the show on the road, I urge you to explicitly be intentional about bringing it out to rural communities as well.
Absolutely.
I think that's really, really important. They're underserved. They don't have access to a lot of things. I think that's super important. Number two, are you organized as a nonprofit? Because that'll help you.
Yes, we are.
Cool. And then the other thing to think about would be kind of like what Ken just said, but also like corporate events for like leadership development, like kind of closed, build a curriculum, invite one of those training companies. I'm sure they'd love to do something like that. So great work.
Well, and thank you. That's one of the big advantages of this, and I'm going to have to bring it to a close, but we're looking to really expand the audience of these interactive museums. Their audience ages out around high school. But the flexibility that the computer-driven graphics and the computer-driven experience drives it, that allows us to tailor it to an individual from 5 years old up to 50 years old. And you can, for every bit that's there, if you're talking orbital mechanics, that talks orbital mechanics, but also there's engineers that are going to be talking orbital mechanics at a vastly different level than that. This exhibit can accommodate all of that. So it could be adults, it can be, and also, let me see, the two things, breaking it out to the escape rooms. We do see that this is the main thing, but that there might be sub exhibits that work with it that might go out to different areas in the, so like if it was displayed here at the Arizona Science Center, maybe something in Scottsdale has an escape room that works back with this one. And what was the last one that was rural communities. The advantage of the curriculum is that, let's say, an Indian reservation that we would never be able to go to and reach, they can field a team that designs that mission and then comes in on a bus to do this, but they've had that experience at their reservation, their school, their rural area for weeks going on before they actually come to the thing. So it can really expand, and I'm afraid I have to cut it off. Thank you very much, please. All of us just can get us a step closer, and we would appreciate your help. Thank you very much.